早い。
指揮者1、人型3、タンクもどき3。一つは真下か。
たった一機でなめられたもんだ。
近すぎて死角だ。頼むカレン。
人型にもビーム兵器。足の遅いケルゲレンには脅威となる。もらった。
ケルゲに入られた。
任せろ。落下なら予測できる。そうだ。
やったか。
一つ。
私とサンダースが手玉に取られた。
あっという間に一気。こいつはエースだ。
Before I start the review for this model kit, I'd like to point out that this is also going up for auction on the annual holiday fundraiser Kits for Kids, or known as Build Kids, which will be working with New Type HQ. These models will be sold at auction on the 18th of November. All the money and proceeds will go to the Children's Hospital. You can follow the link in the description. The MS-07B3 Goof Custom, not to be confused with the MS-07B Goof, piloted famously by Ron Baral, which technically the MS-07B was a mass production version of the MS-07A, which was the prototype Goof. The B was a dumbed down version if I recall correctly. The MS-07B3 was redesigned to have a fully functioning hand, making it more compatible with even more weapons, including weapons used by the Zaku, whereas to the MS-07B had that Gatling gun hand or the shotgun hand, which really limited its weapon options. It was also given a giant heat sword, which was more effective in close range battle than a Heat Hawk that the Zakus were best known for. This mobile suit was piloted famously by Norris Packard. You might remember the battle with the 8th MS team, where Norris held off the entire group and took out 3 gun tanks in the middle of a battle. And I still to this day believed if Norris wasn't focused on taking out the gun tank or basically letting the pilot live because he was in love with Aina Sahaline, he could have easily killed the entire 8th MS team. That's just my personal opinion. I love that clip simply because it gave you a look at what an ace Zeon pilot can do. What an ace pilot could do in general over the cannon fodder that is the normal grunts. This kit in and of itself is fantastic to look at. It is very striking. It's a beautiful kit when painted and weathered up. It is definitely worthy of shelf space simply for looks alone, but the overall design of the kit is dated. This kit came out over 10 years ago if I recall correctly, if not 15. On top of that, the assembly for it is once again very dated. There isn't really an inner frame per se. This is a very old master grade and it shows. The lack of maneuverability, the lack of articulation, the lack of posability is staggering when compared to today's offerings. Hell, it's not even on par with the MS-07B Goof version 2.0 when it comes to overall build design. This suffers from what most of the 8th MS team master grade kits suffer from, just being obsolete in terms of design. The hands in and of themselves are almost useless. The sword doesn't really lock in place with any of the gripping hands. You don't even really need the trigger finger hand unless you were to switch it up with a Zaku weapon. And even then, there's no latching feature in the hands for Zaku weapons, so it would be a loose fit. Really, there's not much I could say about this kit in terms of fiddling with it. Honestly, this is something you probably want to put in a glass display case and not really move again. The back jetpack suffers from one of the pieces constantly falling off. While building this kit and trying to put on the last bit of clear coat, I ran into an issue where I couldn't pull out the tube lock on one of the side skirts and easily broke the original tubing. Thankfully, I had brains enough to order some metal parts, and I replaced the tubing that had broken. Also, you may notice one of the thrusters on the backpack is sticking out ever so slightly. While hand drilling the part in to glue in my metal bit, things went a little sideways. To take it out and redo it again would only cause more damage than good. Looking back at it in hindsight, I probably should have taken the metal part out and then trimmed it down, then stuck it back in, and it would have been flush like the other one. Hindsight is 20/20. Maybe I'll have to do that later, who knows. I also replaced the ammo belt with metal parts. Wasn't really necessary, I just did it because I thought it would look cooler and it would match with the metal tubing on the waist skirts. Another problem with this kit, which I probably will not show you because it will require me to take it apart, and that is the arm section. While there is some inner frame detail, the part separation is severely lacking. Literally, the whole piece for the inner arm is in light blue, when only the big circular piston areas that look like flathead screwdrivers, for people who don't know, are meant to be blue. This requires you to actually paint the kit. Is it necessary if you're not going to take the goof apart? No. But the lack of part separation requires extra work for someone painting later on. I will say the shield is pretty bomb-ass, but it's also limited in its movement. There's a lot of limitations in movement here, basically. The front skirt pops off all too easy, quite too frequently. Even with the original tubing that came with it, it just doesn't want to stay in place. So getting some poses down would require extra finagling. Luckily, the metal tubing I installed is less likely to pop out of place than the original plastic parts. But nonetheless, this could prove to be annoying to continuously pop it back in place for people. I missed the part where I pan shot over the pilot figures. You've most likely seen them. I'm going to say this, the pilot figures are undersized. The details on the pilot figures at this time were horrendous. It was a step up over the GM Snipers pilot figures, but not much of one. Details were severely lacking. It definitely needs to be painted. It comes in a horrible shade of blue. The shield is so heavy that you really can't do any posing with this. Also, the part separation for the shield, once again lacking. You see that big tube area that looks a little bit like half an olive? Well, that's supposed to be a dark metallic color or something. I made the mistake of missing this. I saw it in the anime and I was like, uh-oh. I looked on the box art and it was there, and I just figured at this point, why bother masking it all off to repaint the one area for that one bit? It's very easy to miss these sort of things. That's something on the level of an RE100 kit. That's how dated this Master Grade is. It has the same problems of part separation that an RE100 would have. It's depressing. But then again, this is a very, very old kit. Odds are if you're buying it because you have plans to paint it or modify it. And in that case, the Gouf is a beautiful kit to have, as long as you paint it. It's not bad, but it's sorely lacking out of the box. And this is a kit I would feel deserves a 2.0. But it's probably never going to get it, because Bandai doesn't really focus on Zeon kits that much. The best Zeon kits usually get a Ver.Ka, and that's about it. It's sad to say, but it's the truth. And I lament it because the Gouf Custom 07B3 is my favorite iteration of the Gouf. It really blows that this kit doesn't get the love it deserves. And it has one of the best fight scenes in all of Gundam history. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. Grunts don't really get that much love in Gundam. But Lord knows you'll see 7 different versions of the Unicorn. I don't know how many different versions of the Freedom I've seen. The Granddaddy Gundam's been done so many times I'm falling asleep on it, but what are you gonna do? That's the belly of the beast. The lay of the land. If you can get past all of these issues with the Gouf Custom, then it's a good model kit. If you love Zeon grunt suits, then you probably already have it in your collection, or you plan on buying it. If you're into painting, it's a must-have. The level of customization is truly up to you. I didn't do a lot of seam filling on this kit when it came to the head sculpt, because I hate how many seams it has, because I didn't know if whoever won this would want to take it apart and move the mono eye, which is a feature. Not much of one. The Zaku 2 does it better. The Zaku 2 has a mechanism in the head, Zaku 2.0 by the way, where if you move the head, the mono eye moves. That's not present here. unfortunately, you have to do it by hand. It's a bummer. Also, with the limitation of where the mono eye is, you can't even jerry-rig your own LED inside of it. Another bummer. There's a lot of bummers here. This kit is dated, and that's the best way to put it. The hand cannon that they added to make up for the fact that the 7B3 doesn't have that shotgun hand, which is a cool iteration that they have here, and I really like that, giving it more versatility in weapons. Anyway, the scope on it is orange. It's supposed to be red. Why is it orange? Well, guess what? It probably has a sticker you can place on it. I probably should have painted it like a metallic red or something. I don't know why I didn't. Hindsight, again. There isn't much I can say about this kit because it's lacking in so many departments that you'd probably be used to with modern master grades today. It's a step backwards, but still, it's an imposing, beautiful model kit, and if you take the time to work on it and paint it, it can really come to life. And that's what I think it's best suited for at this point. People who want to take it to that next level. I did do a bit of weathering. You may have noticed, you may not. I wanted it to look like it was battle hardened, but it was definitely piloted by an ace. On top of that, I wanted it to look maintained. Because when I look at the mobile suits, most people weather them to the point of where it's like, it's a walking rust bucket, which makes no sense. Why would a mobile suit that is constantly under maintenance be covered in rust? No, that's not how it would go. When's the last time you went to the Air Force and you saw like a, I don't know, an F-14D? Those are probably decommissioned. An FA-18 Hornet. You don't see those covered in rust, you know? It doesn't make sense. It would only work if these mobile suits were made out of steel and they were, you know, fighting on the beachfront with salt water or something. Anyway, enough of my thought-provoking ideas on weathering paint jobs. If you like it, feel free to keep an eye out. It will be up for auction. The money all goes to a good cause. It will not be shipped by me. The auction is not being handled by me. The only thing I did was paint the kit, and I'll be shipping it off when the time comes. And thank you for watching. Don't really know what I'm doing with this channel. Pay no attention to the background. My hangar bay is still heavily under construction. Bit by bit, I add little things. I'm working on a handmade walkway. I'll probably get a resin printer and just print up one in resin. It'll be easier that way, honest to God. And you know what? I'm out of here. I've wasted enough of your time filibustering around about these kits. Oh, like a jackass, I totally forgot. If you're interested in getting a kit of your own of this kit, or the GM Sniper, or any of the kits you've seen on my channel, including resin kits, most of them can be found on New Type HQ. Don't forget to use the promo code IT'SAGUNPLA. Because, yeah, why not? Don't worry, I don't get paid for it or anything. You know, it just proves that I'm the man. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Oh, man.